Hi, I'm Wally Hauk, and I want to talk to you about think, behave, improve. How does an optimal leader think? How does an optimal leader behave? How does an optimal leader improve? Today is about open and honest communication. As a leader, has an employee ever come to you and said, don't say anything, but my coworker isn't doing his or her job? Or my coworker is being disrespectful to me or the team or to someone else? Or my coworker's avoiding me. I need information from her, but she's not giving me the information. Or I'm really being bullied. Don't say anything because they'll retaliate. Somehow, because you're the leader, you're supposed to magically solve these complex people interaction issues without any data other than these hearsay comments. Is that the way it works? Let me ask you this. What are the consequences of this lack of communication and or avoidance of challenging conversations? Certainly there's wasted time, possibly poor quality products or services, likely delays to customers and to services to customers. You know what? It's impossible. It's nearly impossible to measure the negative impact of a lack of communication. Intuitively, we know it increases costs, it causes delays, it damages relationships, it damages employee engagement. It's impossible to measure. In 2003, the Columbia shuttle re-entered the Earth's atmosphere at 18 times the speed of sound. The 7-person crew died in seconds when the ship disintegrated. The left wing protective tiles have been damaged by a large piece of insulating foam that broke off during liftoff. The superheated air entered the wing and then the cabin, eventually destroying the shuttle and killing the crew. This tragedy was caused by this physical cause of the foam hitting the tiles. Lost human life, millions of dollars of government property, untold knowledge from the 80 life science experiments the crew had conducted. But there was also a cultural cause. According to NASA's report, organizational barriers preventing effective communication of critical safety information contributed to the accident. In most organizations, people will not die if communication is stunted, but there will be waste, and the waste is always damaging, and sometimes it's nearly impossible to measure. So why does this type of communication dysfunction happen in organizations? Why are people not willing to speak up? I've identified 4 root causes of the lack of willingness, and I want to share these with you now so that you can take action on these. Cause number 1, the context isn't safe for honesty. It's not safe to tell the truth. Now, it's a leader's job to make it safe for people to talk to one another. This unsafe context is deeply seated in how we learn to interact with each other during school and in our families. Unfortunately, the authoritarian structure in schools, where the teacher is above the student, the administrator is above the teacher, the superintendent is above the administrator, is a barrier to open and honest communication. The fear comes from the high probability of some form of either retaliation or criticism for telling the truth, and especially when the communication involves bad news. Number 2, there's no clear problem-solving process. The leader and the employee know something's wrong, but there's no clear process adopted to solve and identify the root cause and resolve the process issues and to address what the problem is for a solution. What if there was a clear process available to the employees? Could they act on their own to address it? Why does the manager leader always need to resolve these basic communication problems? It's because there's no problem-solving process that's been agreed to. Number 3, there's a lack of understanding of how to use process improvement tools. So there's no set of steps to improve, to solve the problem, and the process improvement tools are either unknown or unused. If a leader or the employee don't have a set of process improvement tools to address the complex issues, what do? They fall back on guessing. Well, let's try this, let's try that, let's try this. Or they rely on a quick decision, or they do nothing, which is exactly what happened with Columbia. Number 4, the culture prevents a disciplined, thoughtful approach to problem solving. The leader and or the employee do not take a disciplined time to address the real root causes. They instead continue to react, guess, or even worse, they blame the people. This is exactly the approach that we're taught in school. I'm sorry, the school system is dysfunctional, but guess who gets the grades? It's the kids that get the grades. The teachers must teach the test or face consequences, and there's little time for introspection. There's little time for real innovative thought, and there's little time to make some major changes. So it's not easy to address these issues, but being a leader, it's not easy either, okay? One of the very first responsibilities of a leader is to create a culture which allows employees to solve their own problems, to make it safe for them to tell the truth, and these 4 steps will help. If you don't do these, otherwise, just be prepared for employees to come to you and say, shh, don't say anything, but thanks for listening.